city highway is reopened this morning, but it was a scary and dangerous scene when a tanker truck exploded into a fireball. Overnight, a fiery inferno erupting on this major Kansas City highway. A tanker truck carrying both gasoline and diesel burst into flames after colliding with two passenger cars.
It had about 8,500 gallons of fuel on board.
The smoke billowing above, firefighters raced to the scene, desperately trying to put the fire out after using engine and ladder trucks.
We had to come in from the outer roads, put fire trucks on the highway, get supply lines to them so we could feed them with water.
Responders pouring water and foam onto the flames from every angle, backing up the interstate for hours.
5-6 of the lanes have significant spalling and damage to them.
Officers even diverting drivers away from the scene during the busy rush hour commute.
In Hong Kong, it's the 17th week of protest against the Chinese government, and it comes only 2 days before China celebrates 70 years of communist rule. Police on Sunday fired water cannon, rubber bullets and round after round of tear gas at petrol-throwing protesters in clashes which spread across the main island. Police made several arrests, but there were no reports of any injuries. Only hours before, on Saturday night, protesters had thrown petrol bombs and rocks, broke government office windows and blocked a key road near the local headquarters of China's People's Liberation Army. Meanwhile, about 200 supporters of communist rule in China gathered near Victoria Harbour and sang the national anthem.
Potentially, it is the most important ship on Earth. It's been a couple of years in the making on the banks of the Mersey. But the RRS Sir David Attenborough will soon head out to help explain our changing planet. The man himself is honoured, but it's the science of our climate that matters. He, and everyone else, needs politicians who are focused on that. It was then the Duchess of Cambridge who was almost in sync with the champagne. It is a great tribute, but it isn't the name that the public voted for. They wanted Boaty McBoatface. But rather than subvert the will of the people, that name does live on. This small yellow sub, which will launch from this vessel, is called Boaty McBoatface.
There has never been a more important moment for this ship to get to work.
There's been a marked increase in British travellers reporting rape or sexual assault abroad, a 44% rise between 2016 and 2018. Of nearly 1,000, most were in Spain, with at least 218 reported. There were at least 74 in Greece, a minimum of 68 in Turkey, at least 41 in Thailand and 40 in France. The Foreign Office has responded to say that while it can't interfere in the judicial proceedings in another country, its staff are seeking updates and sharing information where that's legally possible. It says it takes reports of rape or sexual assault abroad extremely seriously.
Robert Mugabe's burial was subdued, very different from the large crowds he used to attract during his political rallies. That's because his family wanted to give him a private send-off, where close friends and some people from his village in Zimba were invited to come and say goodbye to Zimbabwe's founding father. For weeks, there was a dispute between the government and Mugabe's family over where he should be buried. In Zimbabwe, people are usually buried within a week. Mugabe died at a hospital in Singapore more than 3 weeks ago. Robert Mugabe's family say he was angry the army removed him from power 2 years ago. It's widely believed to be one of the reasons why there was a dispute over the burial place. Government officials later related, saying they'll respect the family's wishes. President Emmerson Mnangagwa had first pushed for Mugabe to be buried here at the National Heroes Acre Cemetery in the capital, Harare. A special mausoleum was being built for him, but in the end, Mugabe's family had the final say.
Pope Francis has often clashed with anti-immigrant politicians in Europe and the US. On Sunday, he unveiled a statue in St. Peter's Square, showing dozens of migrants and refugees from different faiths and different periods of history. And then, in a speech on what is the World Day of Migrants and Refugees, he linked the global arms trade with the refugee crisis.
Developing
countries continue to be drained of their best natural and human resources for the benefit of a few privileged markets. Wars only affect some regions of the world, yet weapons of war are produced and sold in other regions, which are then unwilling to take in the refugees generated by these conflicts. According to the UN, there are nearly 26 million refugees in the world, and over half come from just 3 conflict-plagued countries: Syria, Afghanistan, and South Sudan.
Leaping off a building, free-falling for a few quick seconds. And then it's time to deploy the parachute. No room for mistakes or second guesses. This is base jumping, plunging from a fixed object. It's considered more dangerous and more technically difficult than skydiving. Skydivers typically exit a plane at around 4,000 meters. But at the KL Tower annual base jump, divers only have 300 meters before they reach the ground.
That intense feeling that I get, the pleasure that I get from it, for me outweighs the risk, right? Like, we understand the risk, it's there, it's present every time that we jump. And
Paul Duchesne logged 1,000 skydives before he did his first base jump. This is his 7th time at this 4-day event that's attracted almost 100 people from 25 countries.
Elon Musk just said he will start building his Starship at a quote-unquote crazy pace, both at his Texas launch site and here on the Space Coast. Musk revealed the new details tonight from Texas. News 6's Clay Lepard watched the presentation and is breaking it down for us. Clay?
Eric, Elon Musk went into detail about how he believes Starship is the gateway to people living on the moon, Mars, and beyond, with the capability to carry as many as 100 people on these interplanetary flights.
This is, I think, the most inspiring thing that I've ever seen.
On the 11th anniversary of the first time SpaceX made orbit, founder Elon Musk delivered an update on his next-generation spacecraft. It's called Starship, and the reusable rocket is expected to be used for launches to the moon, Mars, and with the ability to go anywhere on Earth in under an hour.
Na co dzień nie możemy pokazywać się jako osoby biseksualne, transseksualne, lesbijki czy geje. Musimy to ukrywać i to jest jedyny dzień w roku, kiedy możemy być otwarcie z naszą kochaną osobą za rękę.
Nikt ich nie bije, nikt ich nie kopie, nikt ich nie wygania, ale nie dajemy pozwolenia na to, żeby związek dewiacyjny 2 mężczyzn nazywał się rodziną lub małżeństwem.
we could not find a piece of property that we could drive the house to. So we're taking it to the boat dock and putting it on a barge and floating it out in the bay and eventually pulling it up to the new property we bought.